When people think about the fall of Rome, the same scenes usually come to mind: barbarians pressing at the gates, legions falling apart, palace intrigues, poisoned emperors. But the truth is that empires rarely collapse this way. The real collapse does not come from outside, but from within. And one of the quietest yet most destructive causes of this internal decay is almost always money. Rome did not fall only because of invasions. It fell because its money collapsed. And this story is still relevant today for anyone who believes they can play with money without paying a price. One of the things that allowed Rome to remain standing for so long was the silver denarius, first minted around 211 BC. This coin was nearly pure silver. Everyone trusted it. Soldiers were paid with it, merchants accepted it, and people stored their savings in it. The denarius was not just a means of payment, it was the concrete form of trust in Rome. As long as Rome was strong, its money was strong. But keeping such a vast empire standing was not cheap. Armies had to be fed, roads were built, wars were financed. Over time, Rome's expenses began to exceed its revenues. Taxes were not enough. Raising taxes further was, as always, dangerous. Instead, the emperors chose an easier path, reducing the amount of silver in the money. At first, it may not have been noticed, but over time, the numbers revealed the truth. Under Augustus, the denarius was almost entirely silver. As the centuries passed, this ratio fell by half, then fell even further. By the 3rd century, the coin people held in their hands was essentially bronze with only a thin layer of silver on top. People were not stupid. When they held the coin in their hands, they understood what it was. As trust disappeared, prices rose. Things that could once be bought with a single denarius were now sold for dozens. Soldiers complained that their pay was no longer enough. Merchants did not want to accept this money, preferring gold or barter. When money stopped working, the economy began to unravel. Each time the state made the same mistake: let's issue more and the problem will be solved. But it wasn't solved. Trust faded a little more. Money lost a little more value. It was a complete vicious cycle. This process spiraled completely out of control during the period known as the crisis of the 3rd century. Emperors changed rapidly. Wars and plagues shook the empire. The tax system stopped functioning. Farmers abandoned their land and fled. Trade fragmented. The state became desperate. An emperor named Diocletian tried to solve the problem through law. He fixed prices. "This cannot be sold for more than that," he said. Those who disobeyed were threatened with death. But if the money is broken, you cannot fix prices by decree. The black market exploded. The official economy nearly came to a halt. People clearly saw this. The law cannot give value to money. Eventually, Rome abandoned this money entirely. Constantine introduced the gold solidus. This new currency provided stability for a while, especially in the Eastern Roman Empire. But for the Western Roman Empire, it was already too late. The economy had collapsed from within. There was no strength left to sustain the army. Trust was gone. The fall of Rome did not happen in a single day. It unraveled slowly, and at the center of this unraveling was money. So what does this tell us? This: the corruption of money is the corruption of society. Rome thought, no one will notice. Modern states think the same. They believe they can postpone the problem by printing paper, manipulating numbers, and inflating debt. But the cost is always paid by the people. This is not a story unique to Rome. It happened in Weimar Germany. It happened in Zimbabwe. Each time the same thing occurred. Not those who had money, but those who trusted money lost. The difference today is this. This system has now spread across the entire world. Everyone is in debt. Everyone depends on printed money. This means the next crisis will not be local. For the individual, the lesson to be taken from this is simple but harsh. Inflation is not an accident. Money always rests on trust, and once trust is gone, it does not return. Real value is not in money itself, but in what can be produced with it. The people of Rome did not believe their system would collapse. Neither did the Germans, neither did the Zimbabweans, yet all of them lived through it. Rome reminds us of this. Societies usually collapse not by the sword, but by debased money. When the barbarians reach the gates, the job is already done. The real destruction begins much earlier, inside the treasury. And finally, do not forget this. History does not repeat itself exactly, but if you do not take it seriously, the outcomes are always the same.